And yesterday we interviewed a Marshall Project journalist, KRIV. She found 5 Texas prisoners took their lives behind bars in a 6-day period this month. Now we're following up with a state senator to address the issue and long-term solutions. And joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored is State Senator John Whitmire to talk about the suicide rate in the Texas prison system. Senator, when you see or hear these latest numbers, are you disturbed at all with the number of inmates who have taken their own lives?
Absolutely. One's too many. It's been an issue that's been considered for a number of years. In fact, the Sandra Bland Act, when it regards to jails, we did a whole new protocol where when you're arrested and taken to jail, we look for your background, your circumstances, and have reduced suicides in our jail. Our prisons are a different operation because you're there for longer periods of time. So yes, we've looked at the numbers. We're concerned and looking for something that could be done different. For instance, we constantly look to the prison administrators and their correction officers. I'm about to decide we don't look at the healthcare providers enough. Mm-hmm. The University of Texas Galveston provides the healthcare. They do the mental health treatment. It might be that they're not raising a red flag enough when they see an inmate that is having emotional issues. Texas Tech in the western part of the state as well. So I think maybe we need a working group, sit down with prison administrators. What are you doing that could be improved? But I think more important at this juncture, I think the healthcare providers are going to have to do a more transparent, a more obvious prevention of suicides. When they see someone that's troubled, and I found something real fascinating. You would think it would happen in the middle of the night, maybe when no one was watching. I've learned today most of the suicides are from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So there's all kind of activities going on. Mm-hmm. There's healthcare providers on location. Now, you must keep in mind, of course, as you know from your experience in conversations, prison is a miserable place.
Right.
It's partly designed to be miserable. And we don't want to be inhumane. You've got to take care of the sick, the elderly. But, you know, KRIV does a great job of advocating for inmates. But, you know, we have to balance that with what the public concerns are.
Now, one of the things that KRIV mentioned yesterday on The Factor, Senator, was that because of the possible heat, because of the possible food that they're getting, the mitigating factors, the miserable conditions that could possibly play a role in the suicide. So when we have a prison that's super hot with no relief for inmates, I mean, is that a concern for lawmakers?
It is a concern, and being super cold in the winter. I get calls about how freezing the cells are. The conditions are terrible. And prison is not somewhere anyone wants to go. But, you know, taxpayers and victims are also concerned about the crimes that are committed. Mm-hmm. So everyone needs to be mindful that, you know, no one makes you go to prison to be in these terrible conditions. So we need to advocate that prison's a place you need to avoid by following the law. If you get there, it's going to be miserable. We need to treat them humanely. We need medical services. We need suicide watches need obviously to be improved. So we've got a lot of work to do. Now, let me also emphasize the COVID, the virus had a huge role in raising the numbers in 2020 as it did throughout society. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of contributing factors: bad food, bad conditions, the heat, the cold. Just being in prison away from your loved ones is enough to depress anyone.
We reached out to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. They say in part, quote, anytime a correctional officer encounters an inmate who appears to be in emotional distress, they are encouraged to inquire further into their well-being, as well as reporting it to the Emergency Action Center. In recent years, TDCJ has also increased its crisis intervention and mental health response training for correctional officers, as well as adding a suicide prevention component to the inmate peer education program. Now, if you missed the segment with the Marshall Project, head to fox26houston.com and click on the Isaiah Factor Uncensored tab where you can see it all again.